Eventually, from the depression and the PTSD and everything else, I just kept thinking, maybe it'd be better off if I wasn't here anymore. My name's Ben Clark. I am a general superintendent here at Landmark Excavating. I just want to be able to tell my story to where someone else listening to this or watching this might be able to take something from this and will hopefully not take the same path I did. When I was younger, in my early 20s, I had one of my best friends. Me and him grew up. We were best friends, almost like brothers. And then he chose to end his life right there next to me over a girlfriend. This was a very hard, emotional time for me in my life. Another moment that was a little bit later in my life, but still early. I was about 26 years old when I was a foreman. I had an employee of mine installing gas lines and electrical, and I was under a crawl space of the house running a gas line. This was a house that was being remodeled, so there's multiple contractors in there going in and out constantly. The people that were there to work on the furnace realized the power was off. He was already working on the wiring, and they went out and realized there was breakers turned off and just started flipping breakers on until their furnace kicked on. And I heard a very loud scream that didn't sound like a normal scream. It would a distinct sound like somebody was in distress. I had gone upstairs. I could just see a little opening between the drywall in which I could see him physically holding on to a coax wire. Immediately I yelled to have somebody go shut off the power to the home. The homeowner ran out and shut the power off to the house. At this point, I kicked a hole in the wall. I checked for pulse. He had been indeed held on to power during that time when we heard him scream. So I performed CPR until paramedics arrived, and they performed CPR, used a defibrillator on him a few times, and later pronounced him dead on the scene. His children were very young, so this was a very, very hard thing for me to cope. Part of coping with earlier fatalities in my life and other ones that came later in life, I developed alcoholism. I tried to, keep it under control, just have a few drinks here and there, but that never happens, and it always turned into, I would start with 1 or 2 beers, and then it was a 30-pack, and then it was a 30-pack at night, and then eventually it got to where I had to have hard liquor. The second I got off work, it got to a point where I had to have a beer just to drive home, or the second I got home, I had to have a couple shots just to keep myself mellow, or I don't know what you want to call it, getaway. Just have my getaway for a minute. Over about 12 years, 13 years, that drinking got heavier and heavier. And so did the demons that I was thinking about. I said I was drinking to forget, but that's wrong, because when you drink, that's all you're thinking about is all the bad stuff that's happened. You're not thinking about the good times. You're only thinking about that stuff, especially when you're drinking by yourself. It was a very expensive habit. It was damaging to my children. It was damaging to my relationship with my wife, my friends, my parents, my siblings. It affected my job. It affected my livelihood. It affected my health. And eventually, from the depression and the PTSD and everything else, I just kept thinking, maybe it'd be better off if I wasn't here anymore. And this is a thought that hit me. It wasn't just like a once I thought of it and then it was gone. No, this was something that it may have been 2-3 times a week that this thought was in my head as I was drinking by myself. On November 2nd, 2021, I had shut down a project early due to weather conditions, unsafe conditions. Most of the crew went home. There was an operator or two that hung around and a couple other of the guys I worked with, and we all decided to go to the bar. It's never too early to start drinking, right? So we got down there. It was only 10 a.m. when we got to the bar. We were getting pretty rowdy and been there all day and drinking all day, so about 7 p.m. we were getting booted out. Should have made the right choice and called a cab or called for somebody to give us a ride, but we didn't. Another bad choice. And I didn't drive, but one of my coworkers chose to drive, and he drove my truck. At which point I was in the passenger seat. We were on our way home, and I had got a text message from my wife, which she had me on 360 Live and knew that I'd been sitting at a bar all day and not at work. And she was very upset, and rightfully so. And she told me just not even to bother coming home tonight. She had every right to be mad and every right to say what she said. But what she didn't know is at this point in time, I was back in that spot where I'm drinking and dwelling on my past and really thinking and then letting the PTSD kind of control my life at this point. We pulled up to an intersection. It was snowing pretty heavy, and we were getting ready to make a left-hand turn. I was in the passenger seat reading this message from my wife saying, "Don't come home." And all I could think of in my head is, this is the time. I'm tired. I'm tired of hanging on. I'm tired of all these thoughts. And I looked up and looked into my mirror, my rearview mirror on the passenger side door, and noticed some cars coming my way. And tailing behind those cars was a pickup truck with the plow attachment on it. And I looked at the operator in the driver's seat. I set my phone on the center console. I told him goodbye, grabbed a jacket, and jumped out of my truck, took off running. I'd made it past the first couple vehicles and met up with the truck with the plow attachment and said my goodbye. Truck struck me roughly about 45 miles an hour. It hit my right side. The upper part of the plow hit my elbow and ribs. Lower part of the plow hit my lower right leg. Between my knee and my ankle, I ended up with 8 compound fractures. My right knee was completely dislocated. My right elbow was completely dislocated. All the ligaments and tendons completely severed. My right shoulder was dislocated, and a couple of the ligaments and tendons were severed in it as well. I had a total of 32 broken bones, including 7 skull fractures, a brain bleed, a level 5 lacerated liver. All my ribs on my right side, except for 2, were broken down my sternum and down my spine. I had 2 broken ribs on my left side. I have 3 fractured vertebrae on my central back. Both my upper jaw and lower jaw were broke. No one should have ever lived through this. I said my goodbye. I chose that route to get out. Somebody else has a different plan for me. I was revived in the in the ambulance ride. They had to give me a couple blood transfusions for the amount of blood I lost. You know, when I'm first waking up, I don't know what's going on. I just think it was a bad accident that happened. And I'm trying to just figure out how to get back to being me. I don't know the exact amount of surgeries I had. They didn't think I'd ever be able to walk again. It's been 5 years now, well, almost 5 years, and I'm almost 100%. So physically, I'm there. But mentally, I went on a whole nother roller coaster. I worked with multiple therapists. I worked with different medications to try and cope with PTSD and depression. I also later on discovered that I have ADHD, and then to add into it, now I have a TBI on top of it. So now I've got a whole mess of stuff going on in my head. At this point, I still didn't know what happened. I didn't know why I was in the accident at all. I don't remember at that point. I didn't know what happened that day. I had no memory of that day. So that was one of the big things I worked with in therapy. Did different types of like meditation, hypnosis, whatever it took to try and work with my memory to try and trigger something. And it wasn't until about August, September of last year, so 2025, that my memory started to come back. It would be like a brain overload. I would get a big portion of my memory back, and it would be just the most random time ever. And all of these flooded memories, I had learned that it was indeed suicide. It was my choice to take my own life. I remember when I first started rehab, my wife asking me if I could stop drinking now. And for the first time in my life, I looked at her and told her, yes, I will stop drinking. After going through everything that I have gone through, it just automatically, it's like I couldn't even pick up a drink if I tried. It's totally changed my outlook on life, 100%. Everybody says that I survived that accident, but technically the old Ben died that day. The alcoholic died that day. The guy that sat there and dwelled about the people that he lost instead of being happy that he's still here, that guy's gone. That's when I was born. That's like me now. I'm sober. I don't smoke. I don't chew anymore. All of that's gone. I've gotten myself in a pretty healthy situation. I just want to thank everybody that helped me get through this. My dad, my wife, Jeannie, my mom, my sisters, like everybody was a huge part of my healing process. Mostly I want to hopefully touch somebody and be able to help somebody from making the same mistake I did. We're the ones that build this country. We're the ones that build the bridges, the roads, the buildings, everything. But all of that comes with a toll. Everybody sees accidents happen. Everybody sees fatalities happen. The rate of suicide is through the roof. Mental illness, depression, ADHD, all that kind of stuff. When I first broke out in the blue collar world, it was, we don't care about your feelings. We don't want to hear about that. Just get the work done. That was the industry standard. It still is the standard in most places, but Landmark really has shown a different culture for the blue-collar workers. It's a team effort. It's everybody from the owners down to the laborers. Everybody has their part in it, but we're putting people first. We're making sure that we're not only taking care of others around us, but we're taking care of ourselves. It would be great even if it's just a small starting point for Landmark, that this is the start of a change of the blue-collar culture. We can't keep going on this way. We need to start caring for one another, start making sure that we're heard, and we're not afraid to go talk to people when we need to talk to people. This is something that needs to be addressed, and it's something that everybody needs to start being aware of it and start changing for the better.